Hello, this is Jim Lucan. Today I'm out here at Lewis Ocean Bay Heritage Preserve, and I was walking around, and as I was walking around I realized that I was doing something that wasn't so smart. And I'm going to take a few minutes today to show you what I was doing wrong and what you might want to think about if you come out to Lewis Ocean Bay or any nature preserve. So watch what I'm going to do and see if you make the same mistake, and see if you agree with me that sometimes not making this mistake can be quite rewarding. I was out in this nice open pine savanna, and I realized, without even consciously recognizing it, that I was walking down a path. And the path was made by someone, I don't know, maybe some vehicles in the path, maybe somebody mowed it, I don't know. But what you see in front of me is the path that I chose, and I think it's probably the same path that most of you would choose if you took a stroll through this very nice pine savanna where there's actually red-cockaded woodpeckers, wiregrass. There's evidence of prescribed burning. There's just a lot of things going on here to see. But the question is this the best way to see what's going on? So let's continue on. And you probably see that what's happened is the safe trodden path seems to have given out, and now we don't really know what to do. It's not that big of a transition, it's not that big of a decision, but nevertheless we have to make the decision to continue on without the aid of a path, and that's what we're going to do. Still pretty easy walking, pretty much the same view, but we have a real problem approaching, and let's see what happens. So those of you that are pretty observant probably saw that the vegetation started to change a little bit. We got a few more shrubs popping up. There were some little oak sprouts here and there. There was some inkberries, some other woody plants starting to pop up, whereas back there it was mostly wiregrass. So let's see what most people would do. Right off the bat, we're starting to see some shrubby little oaks. And then in the distance, there's a wall of green starting to loom. And I suspect most people, when they get about here, they might start thinking about turning around and heading back down that safe path. Let's do something different. Now right about here, things really start to change. We have fetterbush, we have bay trees, we have switch cane, we have all kinds of things creating sort of a barrier. And they've done studies to show that when most people encounter something like this, it doesn't make them feel necessarily good. It actually makes them feel anxious and fearful. And this is what we all have to try to overcome. So I'm going to show you just what happens if we wade into this thick stuff and what you might see that you couldn't see out there in the open stuff. So stay with me and let's hope we don't encounter a bear. Oh, wow. Just as I said, you never know what you might find if you wade into something that's a little bit fearful. Right off the bat, look what we discovered. A flow-through swamp where the water's going from left to right. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's a real find. And if I get down low, I think I see a game trail going off the other side. So I didn't bring my boots, and it's too wide to jump, and I don't want to get wet, but let me just say, wading into something you fear can show you something you didn't know was there. Give it a try sometime. This is Jim Lucan. Have fun in the outdoors. So let me do a little disclaimer. Indeed, there are things in nature that can hurt you, but oftentimes the threat from these things is overblown, and with a few little precautions, there's nothing to worry about. Now, in this particular nature preserve where I'm walking today, it's in the middle of winter, so I didn't have to worry about snakes. I didn't have to worry about biting insects or ticks or things like that. However, if you would come here during the summer or the spring when it was a little warmer, yes indeed, there's some things you need to be aware of. Number one is ticks. Try to avoid places where ticks live, in particular in thick shrubby vegetation. And if indeed you go into this thick shrubby vegetation, just check yourself for ticks when you get out and pick them off. Be aware of them, and definitely don't let them latch on to you. Check yourself fairly carefully when you come out of the woods. Snakes, watch where you put your feet, watch where you put your hands. I've never encountered any problems with snakes. Bears, typically they'll run from you, and everything else is probably going to run from you also. So, a few little precautions, and you'll be okay. Take my word for it.